Hello! Welcome back to Starlight Talk. I do this live stream every Wednesday starting at 7 o'clock, so come back next week. Check out OurTism.com for where I write articles about living on the spectrum. I have a workshop coming up, so get tickets for that in January. We have support groups. Come join our support group. All right, this week I'm joined by Alex Orler again. If you haven't seen her past episode, she talked about living with ADD. And now we're going to talk about living with PTSD because we can never have enough diagnoses. Yeah. Also called comorbids, but that's a sad title. So, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Hopefully, answer as many questions as possible. Yeah, I can't wait to get started. Please say hi if you're here, so we can say hi to you, and we know people are watching. And all of our live streams are saved, so you can go to the OurTism Facebook page, click on videos, and see all the past ones, so you can see Alex's past live stream where she talked about living with ADD. That was a really fun talk. I learned a lot. So, do you want to talk about, you were diagnosed very recently with PTSD, but you've had it for a good while. Do you want to talk about what that diagnosis process was like?
Well, I think just having it affirmed, because I'd always felt that I'd had it, because you hear a lot about it being talked about on TV shows, but having it confirmed really validated what I was going through and what I'm still going through, because it can be a lifelong experience. And so it helped me better understand what I needed to do to get help and be able to get the help that I needed to.
Hi, Danny.
To get the help that I needed to be more successful and be happier and be healthier, both mentally and physically.
And you're living on your own right now and having to deal with all that stuff. Living independently. So it's like the new diagnosis and everything. Were you able to find more accommodations and more things available to you that you had that?
Yes, I was definitely able to find more accommodations. For me, I think I was just better able to accommodate myself. I was better able to speak up because I had an official diagnosis. I was able to understand what my limits were because I had someone explain to me in a scientific manner what I was going through and relate to me on an emotional level and validate my experiences. And rather than telling me that I was crazy and what I was going through was just a phase, it was real.
And to touch upon what PTSD is a little bit, like it's not just something that someone who has experienced war can get. It really, anyone can get it, and trauma can be as big as a huge event or something as small as something that you didn't even know caused you that much trauma, but it's built up over time because you haven't dealt with it. So it can be so many things that can trigger it, but it's the lasting effect of it, which causes the PTSD, where you have to relive it and you dream about it, and you, even though you don't want to, and it really it's stuck in your life, whatever that
somehow
it
really impacts the way that you look at the world and the way you interact with the world and people, and it somehow intrudes into every aspect of your life. And I am now just seeing with my recent diagnosis the way that it has
This is my dog Albus.
the way that it has impacted me. Every day, every week, I see new ways in that it's intruded in my life, and how I've dealt with it, and how I need the new ways that I need to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. So I also wanted to address that we're not gonna talk about what your trigger was.
Right.
We wanted to more talk about the everyday living struggle with it,
Mm-hmm.
which is common to everyone, where that cause is very personal. But what I know that there was some violence involved in it, and you've said to me, like, when people like go to shake your hand or go to give you a high five, some of you instinctively go, oh my God, they're gonna hit me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it intrudes in your life in ways that you wouldn't necessarily think about as someone who hasn't really experienced that PTSD and trauma, where it is always there, and those thoughts about that event that occurred are really with you, and it causes anxiety, and causes you to see things that aren't quite reality, but were real in that moment, right? Whatever that, or couple of moments, whatever it was that caused the PTSD. So do you want to talk about some of those thoughts or experiences?
Yeah, I can touch upon them. I think that in terms of the violence that I experienced, again, I won't go into anything personal because I think that'll take away from the discussion that we're having. It has impeded my ability to just be around people, interact with them, and relate to them on personal levels. And being in school, you're surrounded by people, and not being able to relate to them or interact with them is really isolating, and affected my social skills a lot, and affected the friends that I made, or the lack of friends that I've made while in middle school and high school, and in college as well. So I think, is that what you want me to touch upon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you recall any specific experiences?
Yeah, like people would say things like I would get in trouble very easily with my parent for things, and a lot of people would brush off those things, but I would get in trouble so easily, and that would shock people, and it would be hard for them to relate to me, and then in their turn with that, it'd be hard for me to relate to them with how they were growing up in their own households.
I know another thing it affects is your memory.
Yes, I have a hard time remembering how things happen, because my brain immediately will block it out as a sort of a defense mechanism. So even if something isn't traumatizing, sometimes my brain will forget it.
And also ADD causes you to forget.
So yes.
Well, with ADD, it's like I can't grab the memory. Where more with PTSD, that memory is blocked off.
No, you don't even recall it.
Like, you don't have any access to it. It's not like, oh, I know something like that happened, but I don't know what it was. It's like, no, there's no recollection of that
event even happening.
Yeah, it's
which is really frightening. It can be really, really scary to not be able to remember what you experience, because it makes you feel like you're going crazy. So
yeah, it's like all that trauma is blocked, and well, not all of it, but like a lot of that is blocked. So you're like, what am I even having an anxiety right now about?
Right,
because you don't have that memory.
And so then when you go into, like, if you go to talk to someone about it, whether that be a friend or a therapist or whomever you're going to talk about it with, you can't even describe why you're having a panic attack, because it's happening, but you can't remember the trauma that you experienced that has caused that reaction. So it's very frustrating and very, it made me really depressed because I couldn't describe what I was going through to doctors or to friends or to family, why I was just so traumatized and why something so simple as a hug would just throw me off balance and I'd have to retreat into my bedroom.
You have a big fear of losing things?
Yes. I must know where everything is at all times.
I hope it's okay to say you've called me crying because you lost something like your student ID or like something like easily replaceable, and you're like, Chloe, I know logically it doesn't make sense, but it feels like it's the end of the world.
Yes.
And I really need it, and I really need it right now.
I cannot sleep unless I know where certain things are.
And like there's no calming her. I've used every different approach. I validated like it's okay to be upset, and then she gets more upset, like, no, it's not okay. I'm like, okay, let's use a logical approach. Okay, you can just go out and get a new one right now if you find
No, it's not the same as
like, no, I don't want a new one.
Yeah, no, there's no, for some reason, I have no idea what has triggered this, but if I lose something, it is the end of the world. I must know where it is. I cannot go to sleep without knowing where certain things are, whether it be my phone or the paper that I just printed that's due tomorrow at the end of the day. Like, it does not matter. If that thing is on my mind, I must know where it is before I go to bed.
Jack's quiet.
So Danny Rady recommends a book called Adrenal Fatigue that talks about PTSD.
Okay. I always love reading about it because again, it validates my experience, and helps me relate. It gives me language to describe what I'm going through, or helps me relate to other people who are going through it. So I love book recommendations.
So Anna, do you want to address any of the night terrors?
Oh, okay. So again, I won't go into any specifics, but a lot of times I do have nightmares, and I'll wake up in my sleep just like sweating, drenching in sweat, and sometimes I do remember what the night terror is about, and sometimes I don't. But then it's really hard to go back to sleep because now I'm just waking up basically in a panic attack, and I'm, hyperventilating, and sometimes I'm crying, and it's not fun. It's stressful. I can't calm myself down, and I don't want to wake anybody else up to help me calm down. And usually if someone does try to help me calm down, that doesn't always help. They can calm me down for 5-10 minutes maybe, but then as soon as they leave to go back to sleep themselves, then I'm just like freaking out again.
But you don't have a fear of going to sleep? You actually seem to really enjoy
I enjoy sleep. I love sleeping. It's the dreaming that can sometimes be scary, or the waking up from the dream, because sometimes you have such good dreams that you want them to be real, and then when you wake up and they're not real, and it's really depressing. But I do enjoy sleeping.
Danny Rady said that he had a night terror where he thought the floor was going to kill him.
That's actually very frightening. I'm glad I've never had that type of a nightmare, but that is very frightening.
You said one of your earliest nightmares was of the Grinch, and so you have a big fear of the Grinch.
I was afraid of the cartoon Grinch when I was growing up, not even the live action Jim Carrey one, like the old cartoon one. And for some reason, he scared me to no end. And I had a dream where I like fell through a hole in my backyard, and there were eyes poking out around me. And when I got to the bottom of this tunnel thing, the Grinch was at the bottom just standing over me very creepily, and that was a reoccurring night terror when I was growing up. I would scream in my sleep. Thanks, Danny. I haven't seen the live action one, but based on that comment, now I won't. I'm not still scared of the Grinch, but it does bring back memories about that part of my childhood. That was not very fun because it was a recurring nightmare. I can't watch movies. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope there are some movies you can watch, because some movies do actually soothe me. When I was little, there were some movies that I did watch to go to bed that were soothing to me, that actually I think prevented me from getting nightmares, because they put happy thoughts in my mind. I think they were like The Little Mermaid or something really cheesy. Oh good, you can watch comedy movies. So yeah, I would watch like really cheesy movies, and I could do that to help me prevent my nightmares when I was younger.
And do you want to talk about your service dog?
Oh yeah.
You have a service dog that helps you with your PTSD.
Yeah, I just recently got a service dog. He is awesome, and he helps so much with my PTSD. During the day, he's very attentive. He's helps me when I'm having like stress in the classroom or stress, trying to find someplace new. And he helps keep me calm and grounded. And then at night, I've actually trained him to help me with my night terrors, which has been super helpful. And that's really nice.
Dogs are angels.
They are very much angels. And like Chloe has repeatedly said that Benji is her superhero, he is mine. He's been such a lifesaver. Just knowing that someone's there for me to help me and that won't judge me is super nice.
Yeah. It makes you happy. That's what matters.
Yeah. No, it's been super great. The short amount of time that we've been together, it's been awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy how he has given me independence, and I'm sure that you felt that way too.
Immediately I felt the amount of independence. I'm not afraid to go out and stay out longer, because I know that if I want to leave, then that's okay too.
And I know you deal with a lack of energy and fatigue and all that, and he has to go out.
Yeah.
He has energy he needs to let out, and he has to go to the bathroom, and he has to do things.
He has his needs.
And so he gets you out, he gets you exercising, he gets you doing things.
Yeah, he gets me up in the morning because he has to go to the bathroom, he needs to be fed, he needs to be given water. He keeps my alarm clock going, or else I just wouldn't get up, because I would just be too tired or too depressed or too having a panic attack. Sometimes he's able to snap me out of a panic attack and be like, no, you need to focus on me. Focus on me. Don't focus on what you're having anxiety about. So it's very nice to have that reassurance and something to refocus my attention on.
So have you come across anyone who doesn't understand your PTSD?
Yeah, there's always those people that, especially with invisible disabilities, don't see that I have PTSD, or don't understand that people who aren't veterans can have PTSD, will be critical of that. And you know, all I really say to them is, you know, it's what I have, and you know, I have to live with it. Thank God you don't. And kind of just go on my merry way. At least I try to. I don't try to have any altercations. If they want to talk about it, I'm more than happy to discuss with them my experiences and how a service dog has helped me with PTSD, or how I experience PTSD. But I'm not trying to go and convince people that I have it, because I think that that's just too much for one person to do. And I don't think that I'll be able to convince them myself. I think that's their issue. But yeah.
Did you go to classes to help with your PTSD?
Classes. No, I didn't like take any like formal classes to help me. I did do a lot of research. I talked to a couple therapists and psychiatrists. But I think a lot of it did come from my research, from me understanding that I also had these symptoms. I watched a lot of other people's stories, like YouTubers talking about their experiences with PTSD, and that helped me understand what they were going through and possibly understand what I was going through. So not really any formal classes, but I educated myself on what PTSD was, and to see if I had it. And I wasn't looking to validate my own suspicions. I didn't want to have it, to be honest, at all. But once I was formally diagnosed, then it helped me fully understand.
Have you read anything from Dr. Peter A. Levine?
No, I don't think I have. He has a PhD. That's very nice.
I think it's important to not go through it alone. So glad you found a safe way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think definitely a support system, whether that be a service dog or friends or family or a doctor, is really important.
I think talking to someone is super helpful about really any issue.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've already gotten past it, and you don't need to talk about it, because that can only
make it worse.
That can bring back trauma. But if you need to talk about it, do it. Don't keep it to yourself. Especially in the moment when you're having a issue that you can't get through, and a struggle, just talking to someone about, I just had a hard day today.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel better that someone can just listen to that,
Oh, it's super reassuring to have someone who will listen to you and just let you rant for a good, solid 10 minutes and just be like, wow, I validate your experience. And if that's all they say, sometimes for me it's thank you.
And for you, journaling.
Yeah, journaling has helped me a lot when I didn't have really anybody to talk to, and just to get my emotions out. You can write with whatever. Sometimes I, didn't even write in pen. I wrote in Sharpie when I was so mad. That helped me get all my frustration out. For some reason, writing in Sharpie and frustration went hand in hand. But writing definitely helped me. Talking to people helped me. Being around animals helped me. Finding an outlet, I think, is really important when you're dealing with emotions, because keeping it all bottled up can lead to not very good outbursts. So being able to release it in strides and in small bursts is really good.
Focusing on positive things, keeping busy with stuff that you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and for you, like you found environments that were better places to be in, and you would go there rather than places that brought back triggers. And so you're like, well, I'm gonna avoid this place since it's not healthy for me, and it brings out things that I don't like. So I'm gonna go somewhere that is healthy, or make a place that is healthy.
Right.
And when you're you recognize when you were getting to a state of mind that wasn't so great, and you would ask for help. Like, you were very good about doing that. I remember you calling me, like, and I told you can call me at any time of day, and you'd call me and went, hey, I'm not doing okay right now, can I come over, can we talk,
I don't even think I asked if I could come over. I always waited for you
to ask. But like, but that was enough.
Yeah.
No,
it was definitely, like, having a support system was super crucial to me staying positive. And I think I was very lucky. I definitely consider myself one of the lucky ones, because I had someone I could call at any time, literally, and they would be there for me. Some people, unfortunately, don't have that, and I hope that they find that in some shape or form, because it is super important to be able to get yourself out of those situations, even if it's just for a short time, because it can make all the difference. It really can.
You talked about how when you were friends with more negative people, how that really just made you more negative, and so you started seeking out people that you're like, I want to be more like that, I want to be more positive, and like you started working on surrounding yourself with more positive people.
Oh yeah, and that also made a huge difference. Attitude and outlook are super, super important as well. It's not just having people but having the right people to call. I think if you have positive people, if you're surrounded by positive people, you're going to be more positive. And that's going to make you look at the world more positively and make you strive to be a more positive person and do more positive things that will benefit you in the long run.
So I missed the beginning of this. Is adrenal fatigue connected to your PTSD? Could you recap a minute? Danny mentioned something about a book that had to do with adrenal fatigue and PTSD. So that's what that was. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
We talked about her life living with PTSD. When this is over, you can go and rewatch. And we also wanted to address that we're not going to talk about her triggers and what caused the trauma, because that's very personal and not really on the topic of what we want to discuss. It will go off a whole different direction that we really don't want to.
We could be here forever, and it would take away from the message that we're sending.
So that's pretty much what you missed. So you can go back and watch that. When I'm triggered, I lose track of time, so a good friend will remind me to stop, look and notice I'm okay, or keep a note on a refrigerator. Yes, dump the negative people. That changes us.
I agree. I'm glad you have someone that will bring you out of those situations. That's really important.
Yeah, staying in the moment is important. I think a lot of anxiety, depression, and PTSD and stuff like that, you're stuck either in the past or in the future,
or just waiting for something to trigger you.
Yeah, thinking about a different time, or thinking about what ifs of things that haven't occurred, rather than living in what's happening right now. And when you're in the moment, things are so much better. I think that's a healthier place to be, is right in the present. And so if you need to literally touch something and focus on it in order to bring yourself back, that's really good. Like noticing things around me. Oh, look, there's a chair over there, and there's a light up there, and those kind of things. Like those kind of tricks help. I know that helps people. That's a good one to mention. Thanks for mentioning that. Just keeping my body healthy and happy. Yeah, staying healthy in the mind, staying healthy in the body.
Oh yeah,
like all of that.
I definitely noticed that when I started eating better is when I was another impact that really helped me to. It made a positive impact and I wanted to do more healthy things.
Yeah.
And that really helped me in the long run in terms of.
And we really like nature. We do a lot of camping and hiking and that kind of stuff together. That really grounds us and makes us healthy and happy to do that. Thank you for helping me. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all your comments. We love your feedback.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that I could help someone. I wasn't realizing that I was helping someone. That's nice.
So, do you want to talk about a little bit of your anxieties with talking to people, social interactions?
Yeah. Like Chloe mentioned earlier, I'm afraid of losing things. I'm also afraid of losing people. So for me, like, I wouldn't talk to people because, well, first, I'm not very good at first impressions. And, you know, if I wanted someone to be my friend, I would be afraid that if they became my friend that I'd lose their friendship somehow. So that would scare me off and I wouldn't want to talk to anybody. And I was also afraid of them not liking me. So I just put it in my head that they already didn't like me, so I wouldn't talk to them. You observe me, so I don't watch myself. So what else do I do?
I point out things to her because she's not always in reality. She's like, oh, that person liked me or they didn't like me and these are the reasons. I'm like, well, how did you that's not what happened. She'd get into arguments with people who, and she's like, you insulted me, why are you being so mean? And they're like, I didn't say anything, I was trying to help you.
They'd be agreeing with me.
Yeah. So I'm in, she now trusts me, so I can go, hey Alex, this is actually what happened, and she'll come back to reality a little more than she did in the past. But she's getting better at going, oh, okay, that's okay. And bringing herself back to reality. But yeah, those anxieties and those, I'm sure there's memories associated with that where you trusted someone and they weren't to be trusted. So that all comes back. You're like, what if it happens again? And you relive that while you're talking to someone who is pretty trustworthy.
Yeah.
You're like, and then you put it all on that person, right? And so you're living through something that's not happening. And so the rest of us are like, I don't understand how you saw any of that when you're in a whole different place. And it is a reality for you in that moment. And so it just understanding, like, people come from all different places and the reason they do things aren't always so obvious, right? Mm-hmm. So taking just a couple minutes to understand that.
Yeah. Well, it's really helpful too having someone else explain to me what I'm not seeing, because like Chloe said, I'm usually trapped in some sort of alternate reality of some kind. But it helps me separate the emotional aspect of it usually I am in versus what's going on. And when I can use Chloe to take away the emotional aspect, I can clearly see what's going on. Mm-hmm. So it's really helpful. It's a lot of pressure on Chloe, but she takes it in stride somehow. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. She somehow puts up with it. I don't know.
Oh, I don't think we've talked about
that.
like we've been friends. We met in middle school, and
do they know how old we are though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna address.
Okay, you're gonna go into that.
So we met in middle school. She was friends with my twin sister. She went to our sister school, so it was like 2 schools on the same campus. And I started meeting my twin sisters, all of her friends. And so I met her with like a bunch of other people. So she was just a blur of like all these other people. And then you started doing school projects with her and coming over and then hanging out with her. And I remember Lillian would take her naps, and then I would come downstairs and just see Alex sitting on the couch. And I didn't really know her, but I was like, she goes to the same school, I can't just ignore her. That'd be rude. And she goes to school like, why are you so rude? So I started hanging out with her when Lillian couldn't do that. And we didn't know at the time that Lillian was going through sensory overloads and like all this stuff. And I was like, Lillian, your friend's downstairs. And she's like, I'm sleeping. And so I'd go, I'm like, hi, Alex. But like how we really became friends, I remember was 8th grade. We were selecting temp partners for outdoor ed, and she put my name down. I did not put her name down.
You did.
I did not. I put
some other people's.
I did. I
don't want to know.
I'm not gonna just mention names. But we ended up tent partners, and I remember going up, and my sister ended up tent partners with someone I was really, really good friends with. So that she didn't know very well. So we went up and we're like, I think you swapped us. I think there was a mistake. And Alex literally came up walking behind me at that moment and went, hey, Chloe, aren't you so excited to be tent partners? I put you down as number 1. And they were like, yeah, it's not a mistake.
I love it.
And she like, just did not hear any of that. And I was like,
I don't remember any of this.
So we ended up having a really good time.
Oh, hi.
She thought she knew me very well, and I did not think I knew her at all. And then in high school, we had more classes together.
I don't remember.
And we did the Prague trip together, and we became really good friends because a lot of my friends left this school after middle school. And so we've been friends. So that's sort of how we met and became friends. And so now we're 22.
Oh,
and yeah. So
you're hungry.
I have to do the math. Like 9 years?
Yeah. Wasn't it 8 years last year?
Yeah, so we've been friends 9 years. And like when we went to college, we didn't really think about going together, and we ended up going different places, and we didn't like even discuss it. And then like 2 years into college, we're like, why didn't we just go together? Why didn't we find a college somewhere together? Because we would have had so much fun together.
Yeah.
And I went and visited her and stayed with her for like a week at her college, and it was like the best time ever. We're why didn't we live together? And like
I don't think it even ever crossed our minds.
Because we lived together. Like you were living at my house. Like we knew we could live together.
Yeah. And we did the Prague trip, so we knew we could live together.
The 10 partners every year. We were 10. I put her name down every year after that.
Oh, good.
It was just the 1 year. So I've known her for a long time, and I know all about her ADD and PTSD.
Oh yeah.
Even before I knew like what the labels were,
yeah.
I was just like, that's Alex. And she got to know my autism and all of that, and was there through the whole process.
Yeah, when you got diagnosed.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that day.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, we both have ADD, and she was like,
I was like, I don't know that.
Oh, the puppy was sticking his head up.
That's my service dog.
Yeah, our dogs like to stick their head in. Before I live stream every week. My little dog Jack sits in the chair next to me, like he's gonna be my guest, and it's adorable. And then once it starts, he runs off. I don't know how he knows we started. But yeah, they all love to be on camera. Yeah, so does anybody have any more questions? We love to answer more questions.
If they're about the dog, that's fine.
Yeah, they could be off topic. You can ask about ADD, about autism, about PTSD, about service dogs, about our friendship. You can pry.
We should do one about our friendship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, knowing her, I've gotten to realize like how there's so many similarities with ADD and autism, and
oh yeah, we can do that.
And so many disabilities have so much crossover.
Overlap,
you know. It's been really cool. Like, we didn't realize a lot of our friends weren't diagnosed with anything, and now are diagnosed with.
Well, yeah.
With it.
So like.
And so we found each other.
Yeah, we were really lucky.
Yeah, because we can relate. There's a lot of things we talked about, like, oh, I had a teacher that did this. Oh, I had a teacher that did that.
The teacher experience.
You mentioned ADD and PTSD, so it's a super heightened thing. So, expression for me, but more, how do I feel? I'm so lost.
Wait. So it's super heightened thing. So expression for how do I feel more? Do you do you definitely meditate? I definitely think I don't do like traditional meditations by any means, but just sitting there and deep breathing and listening to like nature music.
Were you
type
in
things.
The yoga
no,
class?
I wasn't in the
you
yoga
weren't.
class.
I tried to convince you to take the yoga class.
I didn't do yoga class. I needed to run around. That was my ADD. I needed to run around.
That's true. There was a yoga class once a week for PE that you could take, and I did that because I loved to calm down and like do that stuff. And Charlie was in that, and Charlie also has ADD. She has ADD and autism, and she she needed to run around, but didn't.
No, I needed to run around.
I know you did too. And so Charlie was in there, and I remember her just like, I don't know, she would just like get so crazy in that class, and we were trying to meditate. She hated the meditation. Now she likes to meditate, but I remember her going, I won't do it, fighting with our teacher.
No, I definitely meditate and do breathing exercises when I'm having a panic attack or an anxiety attack. I learned this really cool trick. I don't know if it works for everybody. We both like
tea. We
love tea.
The essential oils.
But there's a breathing exercise that I do where you breathe in deeply for 4 seconds, hold it for 7 seconds, and you breathe out for 8 seconds. There's a learning curve to it. But I find that really helps steady me when I'm having a panic attack. As much as my service dog does steady me, he studies me so much. But that like kind of resets me in a sense to be able to continue on with what I need to do. So that breathing exercise, it's the 4-7-8. You can look up 4-7-8 breathing on Google and it'll explain it to you. And hiking.
You were very active too. I remember in middle school and high school you had your rollerblades, and
I need to get a new pair.
You would come to school with like scrapes on your arms and your knees, and people were like, "Well, you must not be very good at it."
No,
and she was like, "No, I was. They're just trying new tricks and stuff." I remember that you did a lot. You would take me to the park and show me your rollerblading skills,
which I'm sure weren't very good.
And I was on the swing stimming. Yeah, we could swing.
We should go back to that park. It's a pretty nice park.
We walked everywhere.
Yeah. When we didn't have cars, we wouldn't even ask our parents to drive us. We can walk.
Yeah.
I walked through. That's nice. I should do more walking. I'm not trying rollerblades. I'm 50. Well, yeah, I have to be careful. I'm getting older. I need to get new rollerblades is what I need to get. Okay.
Yeah.
Rocking is really nice. She loves rocking.
Yeah.
And she has gotten me into it.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. I love rocking.
When we went on vacation this summer, we found a port swing, and I was pushing both of us.
Oh, it was so nice.
And she was just sitting there, and I was like, "Oh my God, my legs are starting to hurt. I wonder why."
Because you got the extra weight.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions, please ask them. We're here for a couple more minutes.
And come back next week. We're gonna talk about life map next week.
Yay.
Super exciting. Check out the website OurTism.com. I have articles on there about living with autism, and hopefully she will have some articles up soon.
Oh, now you're putting the pressure on.
You can see.
Yeah. In January, I have a workshop. Please sign up and come to it. I'd love to see you guys there. We have a support group next week. No, we don't. Not next week. Just this week. This week.
For adults.
For adults. It's canceled next week. What else do we have? I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Support group for parents. Support group for adults.
Yeah, I have articles. OurTism.com. Go under the blog. I write about living on the spectrum. Yeah, living with autism. There's some cool stuff over there. I should update that. Thank you guys for watching. Come back next week, Wednesday at 7 Pacific Standard Time. I love talking to you. Loving the videos of braveness to come with us. I'm learning so much. Oh, good. Come back next week. Share with your friends. Stay colorful. Bye-bye.